Welcome to SSP Still Standing Podcast. If you trying to build, trying to heal, trying to lead, or just trying to make it through another day, you in the right place. I'm here with my brother OG. How you doing, bro?
Another day, my boy. How about yourself?
Doing good. So, this one a little bit different from our normal EP episodes. This is Project Black History. So, this episode we giving a little bit of information. Um, a reoccurring theme in Black American culture is to be doubted, to be thought of as less than, subhuman. And this group of black men really were in the forefront. They really had to go through a lot of hurdles to be, honestly, not even to be seen as equal. Even with everything they did, they were never seen as equal.
Yeah.
Imagine a military report going out that you're unintelligent, you're incapable of leading, you're unable
Lazy.
to go to combat for this country,
Mm-hmm.
and that military equipment was too complex for your brain capacity to understand how to use it.
That's what I love about being black. We definitely defy odds, man. Like you throw something at us and you tell us we can't do something, we gonna figure out a way.
Always, man.
Always,
Always
bro.
gonna find out a way.
Always.
But if you're unaware of who we're talking about, we're talking about the first black military pilots in U.S. history, known as the Tuskegee Airmen, in an era known as the Tuskegee Experiment. That was actually the name. So
Yeah.
I guess you could understand why they called it experiment.
Yeah.
What you think? What you think?
They wanted him to fail. They absolutely wanted him to fail. They pushed him out there, hoping that nothing great came to fruition or anything like that. They hope and pray like, yeah, we're gonna let y'all do this, hoping that they fail. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
how you go from hoping somebody to fail, but then you are now being requested. Hey, come on over here. Come do y'all thing real quick.
Yeah.
Y'all went from doubting us to requesting us. Man, that speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And then, just off top debunking the unintelligent portion. So, the first group that went through, there was 12 that took the test. Now, this
mhm,
was the thing. They would give us the test two, three times. Some people would pass. They would just say, hey, you failed this test. But the ones that did pass would pass with flying colors. So out of that first 12, five went on to pass and
mhm,
start the Tuskegee experiment. Now, over that time, over 900 pilots ended up graduating from that program in World War II.
mhm.
Ended up flying over 15,000 combat missions, bro, in Europe
Mhm.
and North Africa. I'm talking
Yep,
about cold, man, cold. But you could imagine in this military time that, you know, everything was still segregated. Everything.
absolutely, absolutely, bro.
Garrix, defect.
Mhm.
Um, can you imagine a world in which you fighting for the country you live in and prisoners of war are getting to go to your exchange to buy things, toiletries, snacks, and things like that, and you
That's
can't even
smart.
go?
Can't even do it. Like, sheesh. I honestly, I wouldn't know how to feel knowing that, like, y'all low key have more love for the enemies that look like y'all versus the people that's on your side that don't look like y'all. That's crazy to me. Y'all have way more respect for the enemies, people are prisoners of war just because they look like y'all. That's crazy, bro. I ain't when you told me that, it's not like I didn't believe it, but I was like, nah. I mean, like, dang, that really. I was like, that really happened. That really happened. I had to look it up. I was like, that really did happen. That really did go down. Like, but nothing really surprised me anymore, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I feel like as the world, I'm looking at articles and I'm looking at all kind of stuff on the news, and especially what's in this administration, I don't feel like if nothing surprises me now, even more messed up stuff that they tried to put behind closed doors and it is coming to light now. We have to research it. It's not like I don't believe it, but it's like wow, like they really allowed this to happen. All right, so during the time of World War II, I'm gonna speak for my people, my black people. You know what I'm saying? If y'all want to, read on, what others did, y'all can research it yourself. But I'm speaking on my people. So more than 1 million African Americans served, in every branch of the U.S. Armed Forces during World War II. I know you spoke on, I want to say like the last 2-3 episode that black people fought in every war, right? Every single war. So, and it's not just in the sense of shooting. You know what I'm saying? There were army nurses, engineers, truck drivers. So in spite of these obstacles, African Americans fought with distinction in every theater of the war. Some of the most famous black units included the 332nd Fighter Group, which shot down 112 enemy planes during the course, of 179 bomber escort missions over Europe. Excuse me. Um, but yet black people are still looked at as less intelligent, still looked at as lazy, still looked at as less than. So the question I have for you is why, after all the blood, sweat, and tears, after all the times of being requested, going from being looked at as crash dummies, the experiment, to being requested, for the ones in the interview that we just seen, and they're talking about how they were saving white men, just for them to get back into their own country and to still be looked at as niggers. Like, you got to have a type of heart to know that I am saving people who don't give a damn about me. Like, how would you go on with life knowing that and still saving people who really don't give a fuck about you? Like, how could you walk around in America knowing that you put your life on the line for the American people, and the American people don't even look at you when it comes to be looked at as America? They think white, pure. You know what I'm saying? They don't look at us when they think of America. Who do you think they look at?
You tell me, man, who they
You know what
look
I'm saying?
at? Who they looking
So
at?
so it's
Mhm. And so for the ones that don't know, you had Germany, Italy, and Japan.
mm-hmm.
At the time, Japan was spinning the block,
Yep.
spinning back, tapping heads. They just at the time had Russia pleading out, "Hey, y'all got the block.
Yeah.
We gonna get off the block." Germany at the time was also, trying to expand. We know who was at the helm there,
Mhm.
as far as history,
Yep.
and they was trying to take over territories, and they was getting on, Britain and France ass. So, France, China, Britain, Soviet Union, then we came at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's what makes up World War II, in a war that the Japanese, in propaganda would say, why are these people fighting for a country who doesn't even treat them as humans?
Exactly. No, say that shit again. I need you to say that again, bro. I need
this,
you to
this
say that
was
shit
this
again.
was Japanese propaganda. This is what they were saying. Why would these people fight for a country who don't even see them as humans?
Yeah.
And watching a lot of these videos and things, I ask myself the same questions. Um, because it's like you had people talking about, service members saying that civilian life wasn't much different than military life because everything was still separated and segregated.
Yeah.
We couldn't get into better facilities. We was trained separate and they were trained harder. So these tests that they had to take, taking them 2, 3 times, longer
Mhm.
training sessions, just to try to put hurdles in front of us to deter us away from, wanting to graduate, wanting to make it through West Point.
Yeah.
And then for these guys to be some of the best pilots in US history, you know, over 332nd Fighter Group, over 179 escort missions, over
Mhm.
300 missions, and only
Yep.
losing 25 to 27 reported, pilots.
Yeah.
And this was a big cause of why they wanted to desegregate the military,
Mhm.
that group of pilots.
That's their way of trying to not say they were wrong, try to right their wrongs, but not admitting that what they did was wrong. That makes sense.
No, they was never trying to rewrite their wrongs, brother. It was just the fact of, oh, they good.
Yeah.
They really good.
Yeah.
And I got a couple clips. Uh,
The Tuskegee Airmen were an experiment by the U.S. Army Air Corps to determine whether black pilots could handle military flying. In 1925, there had been a study published that stated that black people were incapable of being combat pilots. They couldn't fly airplanes, they didn't have the strength of character to be combat pilots under stress and pressure. And the Tuskegee experiment was basically to find out if that was true.
Everything was stacked against us. We were inferior to the white man. We were nothing. We overcame all that. We proved in the end that we were the best. We were better than they were.
In 1949, Colonel Harvey and his team of Tuskegee Airmen won the first Top Gun competition. It was held at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada and was a competition among all the squadrons of the U.S. Air Force. Even though they won the competition, the winners were listed as unknown for decades. In January 22, a ceremony was held at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. From this day forward, the Tuskegee Airmen will be recognized as the winners of that competition.
Thank you. That's a step in the right direction.
and you know what is a huge misconception also, and
What's
why
that?
a lot of this was rhetoric. So they thought that we were unable to work these complex machines, but they already had knowledge of some black people that went to France from America that
Had to learn a new language.
had to learn a new language, to
Come on
then
now.
go to France to learn how to fly, to then fly for France in World War I.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
What's his name?
saying?
Let me see. I
So
want
you
to say
had
his name is Eugene Bullard. Was the first African American military pilot, though he flew for the French air service during World War One. He broke the color barrier in 1964 by becoming the first black pilot hired by a major American commercial airline, which is the American Airlines. But he was also like that looked at as the guy that flew for the French air service during World War One.
Mhm.
So while we was like, nah, that ain't going. He's like, all right, cool. Y'all ain't, y'all don't want me. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go over here and do my thing during World War One. Since y'all don't want it, cool. So it's like we're gonna go over here. I'm gonna learn a new language, and I'm gonna learn the systems,
Yep.
and I'm gonna help them out.
Yep.
So it's like,
Nah, that says a lot, bro. And then the first female black pilot, the ones that most of us learned during Black History Month when they used to teach in the school, Bessie Coleman.
yep.
So she also had to go over to France to learn how to fly. She learned from the Cardone brothers,
Yep.
School of Aviation. Was the one doing all the tricks, you know what I'm saying? All the flips, the daredevil type activity. One of the best and coldest to do it,
In the
Just
1920s,
yeah.
June 15, 1921 is when she got her pilot license.
And you got to
Right.
think too, as far as yes, she was black, but she was also a woman. So as much as black men were definitely, the greater at the time, the black women had a double whammy because they had to deal with being black and being a woman.
Being a woman. So it's like,
Let's see what else I got. I touched most of that. You got anything else to add on that one? I'm gonna edit all of it.
I was gonna speak on Millie Bailey for a quick little second.
Go ahead.
So when I first seen the movie, the 688, I didn't know much about Millie Bailey until a few days ago, and I actually researched her and started looking it up and start, what I'm saying, oh, she did that, she did this, she did that. Like, by her being one of the first African American officers within the women's color detachment, knowing that, me living in Texas and, what I'm saying, she shared a lot of Texas ties that I didn't even know about until a few days ago, bro. So both the 688 and Millie Bailey's military stories are deeply rooted in Texas military history. The 688's legacy is honored with a monument at the Fort Cavazos. I hope I said it correctly, but it was formerly known as, Fort Hood until they changed the military installation name. So meanwhile, one of Millie Bailey's most significant non-segregated postings occurred at an adjutant general school at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas, which is the same duty station that my wife is currently at right now. So that was a cool little fun fact I want to throw out there. Like, I ain't even know that. And we're living right here. We're living in, what I'm saying, right outside of San Antonio. So when it comes to Millie Bailey, like, that movie 688, she was the character. Wasn't she the character that was played by Kerry Washington? Or no? I gotta look it up. I don't want to lie now. Let me see. See. So she did not play. Okay. But she was in the okay. So the whole movie is based on okay. Okay, so it was based on the battalion's real leaders, and one of the real leaders was Millie Bailey. So it wasn't in my mind. I thought Kerry Washington was playing as. Well, I was wrong with that one. But Millie Bailey was one of the first African American officers in the Women Army Corps, and served as a commander of the Women's Color Detachment. She was a Bailey was a division director in the Social Security Administration. So that's something where, that's really important for people to know if they don't know. Because I feel like a lot of history nowadays, if it's not told to you, a lot of the stuff you have to research yourself. And it's a lot of things that a lot of African Americans have done that is not being put on Front Street. You got to actually research some of this stuff. Either research, grab some books, go to your nearest library. You know what I'm saying? You have to educate yourself, because a lot of stuff that I do not know, that I'm still learning myself. I'm still actively educating myself now. So it's like, you can always educate yourself. You can always take the time to become more knowledgeable about how powerful a lot of African Americans have been in this country. So
we saved a whole lot of white boys' lives.
Because the bases they flew out of were segregated, most white bomber pilots never even knew their P-51 escort pilots from Ramitelli were black.
They didn't want us to, fly, but now they keep requesting for the red tails to protect them, to the point where Colonel Davis named this airplane by request. We saved a whole lot of white boys' lives.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. So they didn't even know they was black.
They just assumed. Ain't
because
no way. Ain't no way they
black. From what I saw, 2 at a time, and they had to get information like how we would, on maneuvers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you wouldn't even know that these people was black because it was segregated.
Yeah.
And the only ways that they knew who they were was because they painted their tails red on the flight just so that, they could identify each other.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
That's cold. I ain't gonna hold you. That's cold. I ain't gonna hold you. That shit cold.
And just wanted to shed light on this story and just show, American history, because these were the guys that were able to, do the work, do the American history, still not get acknowledged for it until 2007.
Yeah.
With the Achievement Medal from George Bush. I gotta look that one up, make sure that's what that was, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Yep, 2007 Congressional Gold Medal.
Okay.
Finally. So let me say it again. So yeah, in 2007, the surviving Tuskegee Airmen received the Congressional Gold Medal. That was one of the highest civilian medals, honors in America. So, it took so long. So you could imagine they were fighting the war of being segregated in the army.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're fighting the actual war.
Yeah.
And Hitler trying to gain, more area to expand.
Yeah.
And then imagine coming home to America and everything still being segregated, and you've laid your life on the line for the country.
Yeah.
And did it exceptionally well with flying colors.
Man.
Because once you took the uniform off and got back to wherever you were from, they didn't care about your service to the country.
No.
And that's probably the hardest part to stomach out of all of the information, but it's American history, so you need to know. And when immigrants and stuff try to tell you, "Oh, you guys don't have culture, you guys don't have history," no, we do.
Yeah, we do. Deep rooted history too. This shit run deep.
And we've achieved far more than they ever could have imagined, and really surpassed them in a lot of aspects. And because of the things we had to deal with on our home uh, land, you would say, still African descent, but this is our homeland,
Yeah,
that it was like we were set up for failure. They wanted us to crash one way or another.
yeah,
And we still were able to thrive and succeed and look to our brothers to the left and right of us, especially in a situation like that of combat and knowing that's the only people that you have.
yeah,
And the myth goes, they had an unblemished record,